What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo. And I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Hawaii Blues fan, we're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
Special edition of the BlueNote Fan Report. Hello, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and this is a special edition, a live special edition of the BlueNote Fan Report. Has the Blues shocked the NHL hockey world this morning when they released Drew Bannister and hired Jim Montgomery? The Monty is trying to fix the Bannister that is broken. I debated on whether or not I should talk about this, and I kind of been waiting, and I've been doing, the research and reading the things that have been out, and I haven't watched the press conference. That's one thing I kind of stay away from, because sometimes those press conferences, I don't feel you're going to get out of them what you should. And in fact, the thing that we need to get out of what happened actually happened on Saturday, right? And if you're, and I didn't catch this till later. I missed it at first on Saturday. But after the game on Saturday, Bushnevich came out and had some pretty sharp words to say. I'm going to see if I can find this. I may or may not be able to find it here. Let's see if this is the video. I'm trying to find this video. Here we go. See if I can get this to play. Hold on, and I'll play this video of Bushnevich, and I'm getting this video from the Hockey News. It was an article that Luke Horick put out, but he was also the one that put out the comments by Bushnevich, at least that I saw. Could have been somebody else that put him out, but it was it was definitely Luke Horick, who I have said I'm not a fan of. Fair enough, and we'll kind of go from there. I will play this video. I know there might be some commercial or something attached to it. Where am I at now? It's easy to get lost where these things are. Here we go. This is, oh my goodness. Maybe now I'm not going to
take a vacation from everybody else's vacation. Far away
so stand by.
Lines,
this is a commercial, but we'll get to that video in a second here.
To a place where you're free to explore.
But listen to the comments that Bushnevich comes off with.
And be filled with wonder. Find your own way.
Here we come.
Mississippi. Wanderers welcome.
Here we go.
Which would you guys do well in the third period? Would you like about your push there?
We changed the breakout and we start playing better. At least we got the speed on breakout. When we dump the puck, every time we dump the puck, first period, we never get the puck back and we just chasing puck around. As soon as we change the breakout,
hold on a sec.
We enter the zone with the speed and we can for checking.
So is that something you think you can carry forward?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We score 2 goals a game. We can win the games like that. What's our goal? Is have to stop 50 shots every game. It's impossible. Our teams have a good players, and we're scoring. We gotta figure out offense. Offense is our biggest issues. Impossible to win with 1 and 2 goals. But just impossible.
What do you see as the issues on offense?
I don't know. It doesn't work on that. We're working on the G zone. We gotta start working on the offense, believing we can score. You know, it's hard to win in this league like 2-1 and 1-0. You know, I think we play defensively much better than last year, but it doesn't create any chances offensively. These are our biggest issues right now. It's probably the lowest team in goals.
As far as the power play goal, is that kind of a set play you have?
I mean, right there, he says it all right there at that point, and I'll pull it off because you can't really hear it that well. But he says it all right there. We don't practice the offense. Now, I'm not going to say who, but at the beginning of the season, I was able to ask a question of a couple of media members, and I asked them about this going on the forecheck more, playing more of a defensive game than trying to open up and play an offensive puck control game. And they bashed me for it. Oh, that doesn't work. We've seen in the past, da-da-da-da. It's obvious this stuff works. I mean, I wish I could get Lance today. Let me see something. Let me see if I can send him a quick message here. Let's see if I can find Lance. Letting a couple people know I'm live. I did this last minute, so that's on me. But, you know, that happens. Sometimes just things pop up on you and you decide to do it, you know, so I'm not worried about people not watching me. And he was, yeah, you don't know if he's that. Maybe he'll get the message. I'm not sure. Okay, so that got some out there, I hope. Maybe. Maybe not. Didn't put it where I wanted it to. There we go. Maybe somebody could join me. We'll find out. Lance, if he pops on, he can get right on. It's the same link. But we'll see. Okay, I don't even know if anybody's here. Aaron, hello. I can't say I'm surprised by this hire. I'm not surprised by the hire at all. Glad you decided. I just wanted to talk about this because, and I'm going to be a dick here right now. I really am. I'm going to be a dick, and I think I'm allowed to because from the beginning of the season, I have said that my biggest concerns were offense, penalty kill, power play, and I said you could swap those, defense, goaltending. You know, the five major areas concerned 1 to 5. And everyone's defense, and it's been the offense from the get-go. Right? From the get-go. There's been a problem with the offense. And I got called out by media members when I kept saying that. Well, Pavel Buchnevich came out and said, we don't practice the offense. We just do defense. Right? This has got to be a hard move. Now, I did learn one thing, and I wasn't sure of this. I thought at this moment we were paying 3 coaches, but we're not. We're only paying 2. When I guess the way they write in these contracts, if these coaches get another head coaching job in the NHL, then the team is no longer responsible for the contract. All right? So we're not paying for 3 head coaches because Berube's went to Toronto. That took him off our books. Now, we took Montgomery off of Boston's books, but we're still on the hook for Bannister. But Bannister being a newer head coach, I don't think we're on the books for that much. I don't know what his contract was. Kevin's saying that I'm Call of Duty's more exciting than me, so I don't blame him there. The move needed to be made, and it was actually, here's the thing. I think that, and I said this, when Bannister got his contract, I said that the length of his contract was extremely important, and I brought this up numerous different times. The fact that it was 2 years, and in those 2 years is when Steen would take over. Now, Steen would bring on his coach. Okay. Montgomery signed a 5-year deal. That's got to mean Steen was 100% on board with this. And it sounds like he was. And it doesn't sound like just he was. It sounds like Shin was too. Right? This team has been telling the management for about 3 years now, we're tired of defensive hockey. It doesn't work. I saw something by another, poster, whatever you want to call it, and he called this team mediocre. This is not a mediocre, well, the team's mediocre, but it's not mediocre talent. And that's the problem. You have talent, but you're not using it right. And you haven't been using it right. So now it's my hope that with Montgomery, who is an offensive style coach, that the neutral zone, where the biggest problem is going to get fixed. That guys aren't going to be standing at the blue line anymore. That they're going to come into the zone as a unit, a 2 or 3 man unit, and instead of just throwing the puck down there and rushing after it, they're sending it around. They're making it so the goalie can't get back to it. Right? If you get to the blue line and you send it around, the goalie really doesn't have enough time to get around there and get to the puck. He doesn't. Right? So it gives you, and you get the time to send it all the way around to your guy coming on the other side of the boards. Right? And that opens up some holes. That opens up some lanes. And that's what this team doesn't do. They don't open those lanes. They don't open the holes. And that's the thing that's been missing. Well, hopingly, now that's not going to be missing anymore. With this is the right move. I agree with that. The loss of Montgomery, when Montgomery went to Boston, the way this team dipped so heavily said everything. It was the exact defensive hockey doesn't work, right? And defensive hockey gets your stars hurt. Austin Matthews. I think this is Austin Matthews' first serious injury in his career. I could be wrong. He might have had a couple of other ones before, but I think this is like the first time that he's missed major time. I think he's still listed as week to week or day to day, but he's missed 5 or 6 games. He's missing time, right? And Bushnevich came out and said it. Now, there was one thing that Armstrong came out and straight up said. Guys, there's no more excuses, right? This is an offensive coach. Now you got to put up offensive numbers. Or guys are going to get traded. Guys are going to be gone, right? Players are going to be gone. Now, who does this move help the most? Right? And there's a couple of you watching me. So I'm wondering, from those of you watching, who do you think that this move helps the most? I think there's one player in mind right off the bat. Yes, absolutely it was. Absolutely it was. I absolutely agree with that, Chris, man. I think the you got one of them. I don't know about Shin as much, but I think this helps Kairu a lot. I didn't think about Bolduc, but it could. It could help Bolduc. If Bolduc is going to be an offensive guy or is an offensive guy, this could help him. But I think it helps Kairu the most. Right? I think it helps Kairu the most. Kairu's an offensive player. He's never going to be a two-way player. He will play some defense, but he's never going to be good at defense no matter how much he practices. That's not his game. You have to play to his game. When you play to his game and you get guys around him that are playing to that same game, he's going to be great. Right? You keep shuffling him around. Put him on a line with Neighbors and Thomas and leave him the F alone. Put Holloway, Bolduc. Well, no, or do this. Put Bushnievich, Thomas, and Kairu on a line, and then your next line is Neighbors, Holloway, and Bolduc. Right? And if you're worried about that being a young line, shift them down to third. Put Shen, Saad, and I forget who the Fosca, right? Shen, Saad, and Fosca. I think that's Fosca. You put them in second, but really your second and third lines are playing the same amount of minutes, right? That's not a bad point. That's not a bad point at all. I think it does help, with having a little bit on the future, right? The Blues don't have a lot of draft picks this season. This year. They only have 3. A first, a 5th, and a 7th, if I remember right. Let's see if I have that site pulled up. I might have it pulled up. I'm not sure. Do I have? If not, I'll have to pull it up. Oh, what is that damn site? Oh, Puckpedia, that's it. Yeah, I don't have it up. I'll have to pull it up. Pull up Puckpedia. So the Blues 4 draft picks. We'll pull up Puckpedia and see what it says. Maybe. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Blues Puckpedia draft picks. Okay, so we have a 1st, a 5th, and a 6th. That's it. 1st, a 5th, and a 6th. We gave up our 2nd and our 3rd in the Boberg and Holloway. I forget where we gave up. I think the 4th or the 7th got given up in the same thing with that, right? We gave up 3. Ended up giving up 3 draft picks to get Boberg and Holloway, right? And we also gave up a draft pick. I think we gave that 4th up. We gave that 4th up. No, we didn't. We might have given that 4th up to get rid of the guy that went to Pittsburgh. Can't think of his name now. The one Hayes. I think that was Hayes. So yeah, we're slow on that. Yep. John Hefner says gives 3rd and 4th line more time, seems to excite more opportunities. I think that I'm not with you on that one. I think that 3rd line. So here's my lineup, right? My lineup, and Wendy, if you want to join me, let me know. I'll throw it in there. I sent something to Lance, but he didn't get back to me. Top line would be Thomas with Kairu and Bushnievich. I see that. I don't have a problem with that. My 2nd line would be one of these 2 combinations. And then the other one would be the 3rd line, 2nd and 3rd line, basically. You would have Holloway with Neighbors and Bolduc, and then you'd have Shin with Saad and Fosca, and you can flip-flop those, right? And then fourth line, you've got Neighbor or Walker and Torpachenko, and then whoever they want to throw in there. And there's a couple of the Texier you can put in there. Actually, Texier might be the guy up instead of Fosca, but Fosca's been playing really, really well. Luke Richardson, and I feel Bruce Boudreau would be a perfect fit. Might be, but I don't know if he would go there. That's the lineup that I would get. That's a much more offensive lineup, right? If you want to improve the defense, improve your offense first. Hold the puck more, score more, put the other team on to where they can't be defensive, and you're going to score more. But at the same time you're doing this, if an offensive guy makes a mistake, they make a mistake. You got to live with it. You got your defenders, your defensemen need to understand that. They need to be not so much in the offense, but a little back. At least that's the way I feel. Right? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'll send this out to him. I don't think Lance has come back on. Sometimes he doesn't feel good, so yeah, he hasn't been around for a bit. So he may not know I'm live, and that's fine. Come back to where I was before. There we go. I think I'm back. Bruce Broder is just doing NHL Network and TSN. I see him wanting a coaching job again. He's also a great players coach when morale is down. That's true. Okay, fair enough. Broder was the coach in Boston, right? Wasn't he the coach in Boston? I'm thinking that he was the coach in Boston. He got let go, and then not Hitchcock. Montgomery came in. Oh man, I'm just losing my head. Montgomery came in. I think that's right. Russ Tidland, Jim Behringer, Eric Trigger, Aaron Nels. Thank you for joining me today on this impromptu show. I sent you the link, Winnie. Oh, Vancouver. When they fired him for Touche. Okay, yep. Bruce there. Okay, now I got you. Sorry. Thank you, Wendy. Sometimes I don't remember all of it. But yeah, so I don't know, Wendy, you could be right there. You could, Bruce may take that job. That's a tough job to take. I mean, they've been rebuilding for how many years now and have been, bottom 10 team for a while. I think the mentality of shots is a bonus. I don't know what you're saying there, John. Right? For me, what I see, and I saw a little bit of it yesterday, they'll get on the cycle, but they're not pulling anybody in with them. They're not creating that cycle where it opens shooting lanes. And if you're not creating that shooting lane, you can pass it all you want. But just shoot. And a lot of times I feel like they're just shooting it at the net, and it's a clogged net. If you cannot get that puck through the net, if you're just shooting into three of their guys, the puck's going back the other way. Hey, Wendy, welcome to the show. I'm just threw this out there. I've been thinking about it all day, whether or not I should do something. So I figure I'll do another 15, 20 minutes and just, talk about the coaching change. When, you remember the show we did at the two shows we did at Vitaly's Hideaway?
Yeah.
My 5 areas of concern, they were offense, penalty kill, power play, and I said you could flip flop those defense and goaltending, and that's been the Blues' problem all season in that order, right? And then I don't know if you've seen it, or I don't know if you if you follow other teams, guys.
I follow other teams around, but I have not paid attention to St. Louis much at all this year.
So Bushnevich came out yesterday and basically said, we don't practice the offense, and you can't win games 1-0, 2-1.
I mean, that needs to happen in Chicago. I guess they are doing the same thing because we average 2.245 goals a game, and it's not been successful.
This is what before the right after the home opener, I got invited to a special event at the arena, a season ticket holder event, and I was able to ask a question of some media members, and I won't say who, and I brought up about, the forecheck doesn't work. You got to get off of that. You got to get more puck control. You got to really, puck control is where it's at. If you're controlling the puck, you're helping your defense. And I got told, no, that doesn't work. We've seen it in the past, But that's actually what every other team is doing.
Yeah.
Right? Every other team is when they enter the zone as a unit, 2-3-man units. And they enter the zone starting in their own defensive zone. They're not starting at the red line. They're not starting at their offensive blue line. They're starting as a unit in their defensive zone. Yep. They're keeping the puck in their defensive zone, setting up to move forward. Mm-hmm. They're not just blindly throwing. They're not just throwing the puck up, trying to get it out of the zone. And that's what the Blues do a lot of. And I think that's what Chicago does a lot of.
What Chicago does, once they get stuck in the neutral zone, they try and dump it into the offensive zone, and it's usually right into the trapezoid where the goalie can play it. The Hawks can't do much to get the puck back, and they have zero offense in the offensive zone, if any, when it comes to their pressure. The Hawks have issues when it comes to dump and chase and how they actually play all together. I will just say it. As I already mentioned in the chat, I said I like Luke Richardson, but I think it could be a smart time for the Hawks to consider a coaching change. The morale in Chicago looks down. Connor Bedard looks frustrated out there. And a perfect coach for Chicago right now would be a coach like Bruce Boudreau, who currently is with NHL Network and TSN. He's been known to boost morale in the locker room for actual star players. That also was able to help Alex Ovechkin when he was struggling back in the around 2010 when Washington hired him. Mm-hmm. And I just think a team in Chicago's standpoint, in a middle of a rebuild, Bruce Boudreau could be a perfect fit.
Actually, I think the coach that would have been the perfect fit is the one St. Louis just got.
I don't think so.
You don't think Montgomery would have been good there?
I like Montgomery. I just said people in my chats on my videos in the most recent in yesterday's game was saying there's a coach out there in Monty who's available. Why don't we try if we fire Luke Richardson, why don't we fire and hire Montgomery? I said this. I think Montgomery was going to choose where he wanted to go. And a team like Chicago would not be a team he would want to go to because this team is still in the thick of a rebuild.
Fair enough. But also he lives in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't he an assistant coach there for like 3 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay, right. So he's familiar with the area. So Montgomery had an opportunity to go to St. Louis, where you remember when I said when you guys actually signed Bannister, I said it might have been kind of a dumb decision to sign him. Should have looked on the market to go after a head coach instead of basically promote Bannister from his interim tag. They clearly saw a mistake in that and fired Bannister 22 games.
Let's bring that down a little bit. So, understanding what was going on then, there was a thought process that if Montgomery didn't get Boston out of the first round, he was going to be fired. I think that Armstrong waited to see if that was what happened. When that didn't happen, and it looked like Montgomery was going to stay in Boston and that he was not, quote unquote, on a hot seat, right? That he was going to be there for a couple more years. He had another year or 2 years on his contract there.
His contract expired at the end of this season.
Okay. So at that point, and he's also, you got to look at the other thing with St. Louis is you've got a GM in waiting in Alexander Steen, right?
Yeah.
The 2-year contract was to give Steen the opportunity to hire the coach that he wanted, right? Because he's going to become Steen's team in 2 seasons, right? So the hiring of Bannister for 2 years set that up. And I understood that. I don't have a problem with that. I think that was, in a lot of ways, and I said this in our shows, right? That's a smart move. That gives you some leeway. That gives you some time. That gives you some training. That gives you some chance to get Steen to feel this team out and build this team in his image, right? That's what I felt. What happens here is Montgomery has that blow up on Marchand, which I felt was absolutely justified.
I mean, here's my thing. Montgomery should not have been the person fired in Boston. The person who needs to be fired in Boston, Cam Neely and Don Sweeney. Don Sweeney's the GM of the team. Cam Neely does a lot of the front office work as well. They've been terrible at their jobs. They mismanaged Jeremy Swayman. They mismanaged the salary cap. They've mismanaged getting centermen. And also, they tried signing a criminal onto their roster, got so much backlash, they ended up resigning that contract. Rescinded the contract, and that should have been when they should have fired them in the first place. And now they're in a position where the Boston Bruins will be needing to go into a rebuild. They stopped.
More than likely.
They stopped.
Right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how good is this move for the Blues?
I put it at 8.5.
Man, you're right there with me. I'm thinking 8.5, 9, even a 9.5, because this move helps some players humongously, right?
It's going to help your guys' offense produce.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at Kyrou. Kyrou is leading the team in points and goals, I think.
Yeah.
Yet, everyone's banging on him because he makes a defensive mistake. It's the worst thing in the world. I want him to make a defensive mistake because I want him to be offense. If he's playing offensive minded, he's gonna make a defensive mistake. Okay.
You don't need him to play defense. You need him to put points up. There's always a player on your team. You don't need to play defense. You need to just go out there and put in the puck in the net. On Chicago, it's Connor Bedard, but he's not putting the puck in the net. The Hawks are playing too defensively, and it's costing the Hawks to get into the O zone to help Connor Bedard produce in the offensive zone.
Okay, let's cover a few
Pyru is on your guys' side. They need him in the offensive zone producing and not having to worry about him playing defense. There's always a player on the team. You want to be an offense first player. Defense doesn't have to worry about. Hawks had it with Patrick Kane for so many years, and now it's on Connor Bedard to do the same.
Okay, let's go over some comments real quick. Roland says, "What's up? We got a new coach. I do like Kyrou's shooting, and he's had a great shot selection. He just needs to keep it up. He'll shoot his way out of the slump. I'm with you. I don't have a problem with that. Do we send the old coach back to Springfield? Well, actually,
He was fired.
Springfield's coach is not a Blues decision, right? The Springfield is an affiliate, but they're not owned by the Blues. So that's up to Springfield whether or not they hire Bannister, and I honestly don't think they're going to. Right?
Yeah.
I don't.
Usually you won't see that happen because the only time you would potentially see that happen is if your NHL team owned the AHL team. So, like, for instance, if the Hawks were to fire Luke Richardson and hire for promote our head coach in Rockford, then they want to hire a different guy in the off season, then they could move him back to Rockford because the Blackhawks actually own the Rockford Ice Hawks.
Yeah. So I don't see that. It says, "Oh my God, can we stop the shots in the chest?" Bennington works his ass off for that team separated defense. Bennington does work his ass off. I will say this. He's playing much better than his numbers, much better. But when the team is, and you're right, the shots, too many shots to the chest. But they're not trying to get lanes. They're not trying to find open lanes, and too many times they're shooting shots into 3 or 4 guys and not getting it out. I will skip that comment. Wendy hit his head and gave the Blues credit for something.
No, if there's something that's good that I can see happen, and I will give them credit. They did a good move by picking up Montgomery.
Who's going to finish last in the Central?
Right now it's between the Hawks and Nashville, which baffles me on Nashville.
Yeah, I think Nashville come January is going to get it together. I think it's going to be between St. Louis and Chicago. However, I do think St. Louis now has enough time to get it together.
Yeah. The Hawks need to do something quick to actually turn things around, but right now it doesn't look like that's happening.
The locker room in St. Louis has had a string of these defensive coaches, and it worked for a little while, but then it didn't work. And instead of going in opposite direction, and when Montgomery was in St. Louis, the last season he was the assistant, he was the offensive coordinator, right? Basically, offensive coordinator. 109 points, third most in team history. They were top 3 or 4 in goals, 4, and like top 6 or 7 in goals against. I mean, they were up there because they were so their G4 was so high because puck control, and that's what Montgomery teaches. And You go back. I go back to that dust up he had with Marchand, and I'm sorry, I got no problem with a coach calling out a star player on the bench if the star player needs it.
Yep,
no problem with it at all.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Right, and this is where Berube kind of went downhill. Berube would go off on the younger guys, but not the top guys. And this is what Tarasenko. I remember Tarasenko getting in front of Berube when he was going off on Robert Thomas, saying, "We don't do that." I mean, he stepped up his leadership then, but and that was probably the downfall of Tarasenko. But again, and I can't stay much longer. This is an impromptu show, so I'm going to have to end it here real quick. But I think this is a good move for St. Louis, and I think against the Rangers, you might see. I know they're not going to have a lot of time to practice, but you're going to see I think that Montgomery's going to say offense first, and you're going to see that.
You're going to see a new coach bump.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now, final thoughts. What's your thoughts on the Winter Classics?
I like the St. Louis jersey. I get where you think it's boring. I understand that. I think that they kind of, this was a jersey that at one time was a prototype that never got used.
It wasn't. I found a team that actually was from St. Louis back in the 40s that wore what?
You mean the Eagles, the St. Louis Eagles in the
No.
30s?
No, it was the St. Louis Flyers, a minor league team that wore a sweater similar to it, but I still think the uniform sucks. I think it's boring. The only thing I say that looks good on St. Louis's is the numbers. How the numbers look on that jersey looks good.
Well, for the Winter Classic, they make the numbers bigger because it's an outdoor game and it's harder to
actually, Winter Classic jersey numbers are the normal size numbers. It's only the Stadium Series they do the enlarged numbers.
I feel like Chicago's is just a rehashed jersey. It's pieces of other jerseys. It doesn't seem new to me.
I will say this: the Hawks there could have been talk. I wonder if this Blackhawks Winter Classic jersey could have been our Centennial jersey next year, but then the NHL put us in the Winter Classic. They ended up making it the Winter Classic jersey, which I like it as the jersey for the Winter Classic. It's a perfect homage of different uniforms from the past and future because it's our current crest inside the roundel. And it has the 4 Chicago stars, in which you could say it represents parts of the 2016 Stadium Series jersey, which had that on the collar. Mm-hmm. It also had moved our waist stripes up to the middle to incorporate the roundel logo. I love how the tomahawks are on the sleeve, not the shoulder. I think how the Hawks did it was perfect.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's just a rehashed jersey, and maybe I'm wrong, but and again, my bias is I'm going to like St. Louis's jersey almost always, and you're going to almost always like Chicago's jersey. I get that.
I've given the Hawks some backlash on some jerseys they've made, like the reverse retro 2.0. That thing was terrible. That's the worst jersey in Blackhawks history. 2015 Winter Classic jersey, it was basically our road jersey. I liked some of the ideas they went with it, but it was basically our road jersey.
The only jersey I think I would have liked to have seen, St. Louis use the Arch jersey in white.
I think what St. Louis should have done is use that Arch logo onto their Winter Classic jersey. It would have looked better.
In the cream, you mean?
Recolor it into the the powder blue and cream.
I would have liked to. I like the St. Louis across the front. Maybe make the arch like come into it and break it and then come back into it again. You know what I mean?
I don't think that would have worked.
Like it's over the arch, like you have the arch logo and then it's the St. Louis is over that, right? Like it's blocking it off. Like you see the bottom leg, the St. Louis, and then the legs above. Stillman hates the arch crest. I don't know if that's a true statement. It could be. I like the arch crest. Well, guys, unfortunately, I got to go. I got some family stuff I got to do. Last minute thing. There's no Tuesday game, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do Monday or Wednesday. Stand by. I don't know. With the Rangers, I may do the Rangers game because my buddy Shaggy might join me. So, guys, I love you. Thanks for joining us, Wendy. Thanks for showing up. Greatly appreciate it today.
All right.
Okay. See you later, Win.
Yep.
Bye, buddies.